Have you ever wondered what happens when a girl is abandoned by her family, manipulated by her sister, and despised by the people she loves the most? Stay with this story, because Emma is not just a shadow, she is a silent fire, ready to explode to reclaim her life. Will she fail under the pressure of her family, or will she stand up and conquer it all? Don't take your eyes off the answer waiting for you at the end of this journey. Emma curled up in the corner of the sofa, staring ahead but not really seeing anything. The room was filled with laughter. In the center, Sophia, her older sister, was brimming with joy as their parents placed a massive birthday cake in front of her. Candles flickered, gifts were stacked high, and everyone eagerly awaited the perfect little girl to make her wish. On the other side of the table, Emma quietly looked down at her own small cake, just a plain layer of white frosting. No decorations, nothing special. No one noticed her. No one asked what she wanted. Ever since I was little, I knew I wasn't the most loved child. My parents always saw Sophia as the center of the universe, and me, I was just a faint shadow. "Sophia, I can't believe you're so talented," her mother exclaimed when Sophia showed off her sloppy drawing. Emma bit her lip, looking down at her own artwork, a carefully coloured piece. Each stroke soft and deliberate, the colours harmonized. She didn't expect praise. She was too used to being overlooked. "Look, I drew something too," she said softly, holding out her creation. Her mother glanced at it briefly, then shrugged. "Oh, it's nice, but you should learn more from Sophia. She has natural talent." "Natural talent?" Emma swallowed a sigh. Her drawing was clearly sharper, the colours more refined. But no one cared. No matter what Sophia does, she's always right. And me, no matter how hard I try, I'm always the lesser child, in their eyes. When Emma was 6, one day Sophia ran through the living room and accidentally knocked their mother's favourite glass vase onto the floor. The sharp sound of shattering glass echoed through the house. Their mother rushed in, glaring at Emma. "What did you do?" Emma froze. "It wasn't me. I wasn't even near it." "Don't lie," their father snapped. "You need to learn to take responsibility. Clean it up. Right now." Sophia stood off to the side, her hands still wet from the vase's flowers, but she just shrugged. Not a single word of blame came her way. Why do they always believe Sophia and never listen to me? Why am I still the one in the wrong, even with clear evidence? Emma bowed her head, picking up the shards, her hands trembling. The pain wasn't from the injustice, it was from knowing no one cared about the truth. As they grew up, Sophia wasn't just spoiled by their parents. She learned how to manipulate them. If she did something wrong, she'd simply turn to Emma and say, "Emma did it. She's always jealous of me." And like a familiar refrain, their parents believed her instantly. No verification, no proof needed. Once, when Emma was 8, Sophia secretly took money from their mother's wallet to buy candy. When their mother noticed the missing cash, Sophia immediately pointed at Emma. "It was definitely Emma. I saw her sneaking around your wallet." Emma's eyes widened. "What? I didn't even touch it." But her defense was worthless. "Emma, I'm so disappointed in you. Where did you learn such bad habits?" Their mother gritted her teeth, taking away Emma's allowance for a month. Meanwhile, Sophia savoured her candy, her eyes gleaming with triumph. That's how it always goes. Unfair. Nothing belongs to me. I'm just a side character in Sophia's story. As the years passed, Emma learned to stay silent. She stopped arguing. She stopped fighting back. Her birthdays were still overshadowed by Sophia. Her achievements were brushed aside. No matter how hard she tried, their parents only cared about Sophia. But deep inside Emma, a fire began to burn. I've learned one thing. No one will stand up for me except myself. And so she decided that one day she would break free from it all. Emma sat at her desk, the light from her lamp illuminating a thick stack of books. She held her test paper, the bold 96% in red ink standing out. A faint smile crept onto her lips. This time they'll surely be proud. She walked downstairs to the living room where her parents sat on the sofa and Sophia scrolled through her phone. Emma held out her test paper with excitement. Mom, Dad, I got a 96% on my math test. Her father glanced up, raised an eyebrow for a second, then turned back to the TV. Yeah, good job. Her mother didn't even look. Why do you always have to show off your grades? Getting high marks is normal for you. Emma froze, her eyes blinking to hold back the tears welling up. At that moment, Sophia suddenly piped up. Mom, I got a 72% in literature. Their mother immediately set her teacup down, her eyes lighting up. Oh, that's amazing, sweetheart. I knew you could do it. Their father chuckled. Wow, 72%. That's real progress, Sophia. We should celebrate. Emma stood there, clutching her test paper, feeling like she'd just become invisible. I work hard and get good grades, but my parents never celebrate me. Meanwhile, Sophia just has to get an average score, and they praise her like she's won a Nobel Prize. Emma wasn't just smart, she also had a warm group of friends who loved her for her sincerity and kindness. But Sophia couldn't stand that. Emma, why don't you ever invite your friends over? Their mother asked once. Emma just gave a small smile. Because I know Sophia would find a way to ruin it. And that's exactly what happened when Emma got her first boyfriend, Daniel. Daniel was a kind guy who listened and cared for Emma in a way she'd never experienced from her family. When she was with him, she felt valued, but Sophia wouldn't let that stand. One day, Daniel came over to meet Emma's family. While Emma was in the kitchen getting drinks, Sophia sauntered into the living room with a sly smile. Daniel, I didn't expect you to like me so much. Daniel frowned. What? You don't have to pretend to like Emma just to get close to me. I get it. You can tell me the truth. Daniel stood up, his gaze icy. What the hell are you talking about? I love Emma, not you. Sophia smirked and shrugged. You don't have to deny it. Anyway, Emma's not right for you. When Emma returned, Daniel grabbed her hand, his expression serious. Emma, I think you should know your sister just told me she thinks I like her. Emma's eyes widened, turning to Sophia. She couldn't believe it. Sophia? Is that true? Sophia gave an awkward laugh. Oh, come on, Emma, you're overreacting. I was just joking. But the smug wink she threw said it all. That was the beginning. From that day, Sophia started spreading nasty rumors about Emma at school. Emma acts like she's perfect, but she's really just a desperate attention seeker. Emma's friends began to drift away. Daniel was forbidden from seeing her after Sophia fabricated a story about Emma being a troublemaker. One day, Emma confronted her parents. Mom, I don't understand. Why do you believe Sophia without question? She's ruining my life. Her mother crossed her arms and sighed. Emma, you always seem so well behaved, but deep down, you're always rebelling against this family. If your friends and boyfriend left you, it's obviously because you did something wrong. Emma felt like she'd been punched in the chest. So you'll never believe me? Her voice trembled. Her mother shrugged casually. Sophia's your older sister. You should learn to love her instead of being jealous. Emma stood there, her blood boiling. She clenched her fists, but then she just nodded. No arguing, no yelling, just a bitter silence. Every time I have a boyfriend, Sophia finds a way to interfere. She flirts with them, then blames me. My parents believe her without question and always see me as the problem. But deep in Emma's heart, a promise echoed louder than ever. One day I'll leave this place. Emma spent her childhood and teenage years searching for one thing, a way out. Every door in her family was shut in her face. She wasn't loved, wasn't recognized, and every time she tried to assert herself, her parents ignored her or crushed her hopes with careless criticism. But there was one thing they couldn't control: education. Every night while the house slept, Emma sat at her desk, her eyes glued to her books. The dim light from her lamp cast a glow on her determined face. They won't pay for my college, but I don't need them anymore. I'll find my own way. The days passed in tense silence. Emma said nothing about her plans. She knew if her parents found out, they'd try to stop her, or worse, mock and sabotage it. And then the fateful day arrived. Emma held a thick envelope from her dream university. Her heart pounded as she tore it open. Congratulations, Emma. You've been accepted with a full scholarship. She could hardly believe her eyes. Her breath quickened, her hands shaking as she read the words again. I did it, I really did it. In that moment she felt free. Emma couldn't keep the good news to herself forever. She walked downstairs to the living room, still buzzing with newfound joy. Mom, Dad, I got a full scholarship. Her mother looked up, a flash of surprise in her eyes. Really? Oh my goodness, Emma. You did it. Her father even smiled. Wow, not bad. Finally, something about you worth being proud of. Emma paused. Finally, something worth being proud of? But she pushed the thought aside. They were praising her. This was rare. She should cherish it. However, the short-lived victory ended the moment Sophia walked into the room. What? Emma got a scholarship? Sophia scoffed, crossing her arms. The school must have made a mistake. Their mother laughed. Come on, Sophia. Your sister's smart after all. But Sophia's eyes darkened. If she's so smart, why doesn't she have any friends? Why is she always causing trouble? Who knows, maybe she cheated to get that scholarship? Emma froze. Cheated? What did you just say? I'm just telling the truth, Emma. If I couldn't succeed in college, you think you can? You don't know how harsh the real world is. The room's atmosphere shifted instantly. Her parents' pride began to fade. Sophia has a point, her father muttered. Are you really capable, Emma? Emma stared at them, feeling the ground beneath her crumble. Mom, Dad, I did something no one in this house thought I could. I earned this scholarship on my own. No one helped me. No one encouraged me. I did it all by myself. But they just looked at her with doubt. Are you sure? Her mother asked. Do you really think you're strong enough to live away from home? If Sophia couldn't succeed, how can you? Emma bit her lip. This wasn't doubt. This was sabotage. They didn't want her to succeed. They wanted her to fail. So, what do you mean? Emma asked, her voice trembling. Her father crossed his arms. What your mother means is maybe you should rethink this. Stay home for a while, work and earn some money, then consider college later. If you fail out there, it'll be a huge embarrassment. Sophia leaned back on the couch, a victorious smile spreading across her face. Makes sense. Who knows? Maybe you'll come crawling back after one semester. Emma clenched her fists, her nails digging into her palms until it hurt. They wanted her to give up. They wanted her to quit. But she'd lost too much to get this far. She took a deep breath, looked them straight in the eye, her voice calm but resolute. No, I'm going. Her mother's eyes widened. Emma, don't be so stubborn. I'm not stubborn. I've put up with this my whole life, but now I have a chance, and I won't let it slip away just because you and Dad think I don't deserve it. For the first time in her life, Emma saw their silence lose its power. I'm leaving this place, and I won't come back the way you want me to. Then she turned and walked away, leaving behind a room full of stunned faces and a fuming Sophia. But Emma didn't care anymore. She'd won. Emma rested her head on Liam's shoulder, her eyes sparkling with happiness as she admired the glittering ring on her finger. I can't believe we're finally engaged, Liam said, his voice full of warmth. Me neither, Emma smiled softly. After everything I've been through, I didn't think I'd find someone like you. Liam pressed a gentle kiss to her forehead. You deserve all the best things, but neither of them knew that. Emma's family had plans to turn this joyful day into a nightmare. Liam wanted to do things traditionally, so he suggested meeting Emma's parents to formally ask for their blessing to marry her. "Are you sure?" Emma asked, worried. "It's an important step. I want to show my sincerity." Emma sighed, part of her wanting to warn Liam that her parents weren't like normal parents, but in the end, she just nodded. "Okay, but promise me one thing, don't let them manipulate you." Liam frowned, but then smiled lightly. "I think I can handle it." He was wrong. Liam sat on the sofa in Emma's family living room, trying to stay polite as he faced her parents. Sophia sat nearby, holding a glass of wine, a smirk playing on her lips. Emma's parents exchanged a look before her mother spoke. "We've thought a lot about this, Liam. We understand you want to marry Emma, but there's something important you need to know." Liam nodded, waiting. Emma's mother took a deep breath, then casually dropped the most outrageous statement he'd ever heard. "We'll only fund the wedding if Sophia walks down the aisle first." "In a wedding dress?" Liam blinked, certain he'd misheard. "Sorry, could you repeat that?" he asked, his voice calm but laced with disbelief. Emma's father chimed in, his tone serious as if it made perfect sense. "In our family, the younger sister can't marry before the older one does. But since Sophia hasn't found a husband yet, she should at least get the wedding experience first." Liam blinked again, trying not to laugh at the absurdity. "You mean she'd wear a wedding dress? Walk down the aisle? At our wedding?" "Exactly." Emma's mother nodded firmly. Sophia raised an eyebrow, her eyes gleaming with triumph as she sipped her wine. "You know, Liam, I deserve a special day too. We all know who should be the star." Liam glanced around, waiting for a sign this was a joke, but no one laughed. They were dead serious. He cleared his throat. "And if I refuse?" Emma's father crossed his arms, his gaze cold. "Then we won't pay a cent for your wedding with Emma." Liam stepped out of Emma's house, his fists clenched. As soon as the door shut behind him, he pulled out his phone and called her. "Emma, where are you?" "At home." "What's wrong?" Her voice was soft, but Liam could sense an unspoken worry. "I just met with your parents." A long pause. "And?" Emma asked, her voice tightening. "They said they'll only pay for the wedding if Sophia walks down the aisle first. In a wedding dress." Silence. Liam thought the call had dropped, but then he heard a faint laugh from the other end. Not a joyful laugh, a bitter, desperate one. "Of course," Emma muttered. "I don't know why I expected anything different." "Emma," Liam said gently. "Liam, do you remember what I told you? They'll do anything to make my big day about Sophia." "I can't believe they actually said that to you." Liam took a deep breath. "So what do we do?" For the first time, Emma didn't hesitate. "We won't let them win." Emma and Liam sat in their apartment, papers scattered across the table as they planned their counterattack. "What do you think we should do?" Emma asked, her eyes gleaming with a resolve she'd never had before. Liam smirked. "We'll play their game, but on our terms." "What do you mean?" "We'll let them think they're winning. We'll make them believe Sophia will get her moment. Then, on the wedding day, we'll turn the tables." Emma smiled, feeling in control for the first time in her life. "We won't let them turn our special day into a farce." Liam sat across from Emma's parents and Sophia, offering a calm smile. He held a teacup, sipping slowly as if weighing a big decision. "So, you're saying if we agree to let Sophia walk down the aisle first, you'll pay for the wedding?" Emma's father nodded, his eyes smug. "Exactly. It'll keep our family's dignity intact. And Sophia deserves her special day, right?" Liam pretended to ponder, then sighed. "I see. Okay, I'll talk to Emma about it. I don't think she'll mind if it makes everyone happy." Sophia grinned triumphantly, and Emma's mother nodded with satisfaction. They had no idea. Liam was already planning his counterstrike from that very moment. Emma crossed her arms, frowning as Liam recounted what happened. "What did you do?" Her eyes widened. I agreed. Liam shrugged, but his eyes glinted with mischief. But we're not actually going to let it happen. Emma froze for a moment, then a sly smile curled her lips. We'll beat them at their own game. They crafted a perfect plan. Security at the venue. Liam hired a professional security team tasked with stopping Sophia at the entrance. No one outside the official guest list would be allowed in after a certain point. To avoid suspicion, the security was hired secretly, unconnected to the family's official event planner. Fake compliance, Emma and Liam pretended to go along, letting her family think they were in control. Emma acted reluctant when agreeing to her parents' demands, making it seem like she'd been coerced. The last-minute twist: when Sophia arrived in her fake wedding dress and approached the venue, she'd be stopped at the door. Emma's parents would panic, but by then the wedding would have started, and all the guests would see Sophia turned away before she could make a scene. They want to turn our wedding into a performance? Emma clenched her fists. Then we'll make them the stars of their own humiliating show. Liam laughed, pulling Emma into his arms. I can't wait for that day. 2 weeks before the wedding, Emma got a text from her mother. Mum, everything's set. Sophia tried on her wedding dress, and it looks stunning. You'll be so proud to see your sister walk down the aisle first. Emma stared at the screen, stifling a laugh. They really thought they'd won. Emma replied, Yes, I understand. Thanks for handling everything, Mum. She turned to Liam. They've taken the bait. Perfect. Now we just wait for the big day. Emma stood before the mirror, slipping into her elegant wedding dress. For the first time in her life, she felt free. Tomorrow, everything they've done to me will backfire. Liam stood behind her, wrapping his arms around her. Tomorrow, they won't control you anymore. We'll have our wedding, exactly the way we want it. Emma closed her eyes, taking a deep breath. Tomorrow was her victory. Emma stood in front of the mirror in the bridal suite, her breathing slow and steady. She gently ran her hand over the soft fabric of her wedding dress, feeling every perfect detail. Today is my day, she told herself, though a small flicker of worry lingered in her mind. Her family never gave up easily. Liam stepped in, a confident smile on his face. Ready, my bride? Emma turned, her eyes shining with determination. More ready than ever. They'd set everything in place. Now it was time to watch the perfect plan unfold. Outside the venue, a luxury car pulled up. Sophia stepped out, draped in an extravagant white wedding dress, as if she were the star of the day. She flashed a proud smile, her curly hair perfectly styled. Emma's mother hurriedly adjusted her darling daughter's train, while Emma's father stood nearby, looking tense. You look amazing, Sophia, her mother gushed. All the guests will be in awe when you walk in. Sophia smiled smugly, clutching a bouquet of white flowers. But as she approached the entrance, a towering figure stepped forward to block her path. Security, sorry, you're not on the guest list, the guard said, his tone professional but firm. Sophia raised an eyebrow, laughing lightly. Are you kidding? I'm the bride's sister. Of course I'm on the list. The guard didn't budge. Your name isn't on the VIP list, and you're not allowed in. Are you insane? This is my sister's wedding. Emma's mother rushed forward, furious. Get the manager out here now. This is an insult. But the guard just shrugged, his eyes fixed on Sophia. If you want to call the police, go ahead, but per the official list, she's not permitted entry. Sophia's eyes widened. She'd never been denied so blatantly before. The nightmare was just beginning. Inside, everything went according to plan. The guests were seated, buzzing with anticipation for the bride's entrance. But some started whispering as they noticed the commotion. Sounds like someone's being stopped outside. I heard it's the bride's sister. The bride's sister? But why is she wearing a wedding dress? Rumors began to spread. Emma stood behind the ceremony doors. Hearing it all, she couldn't stop a faint smile. Finally, they're seeing Sophia's true colours. Emma's parents stormed into the venue, dragging a now dishevelled Sophia behind them, her confidence shattered. "Emma, what have you done?" her mother yelled. Why was Sophia blocked outside? Liam turned, his expression calm. "We didn't do anything. The security team was just doing their job." Emma's father clenched his fists. "Don't play dumb, Liam. You agreed to this." Liam raised an eyebrow, shrugging nonchalantly. "Why would I agree to something so ridiculous?" He smiled lightly. "Do you have proof?" All eyes turned to Emma's parents. They had nothing, no texts, no emails, not a shred of evidence that Liam had ever approved their absurd plan. The guests murmured, their gazes filled with curiosity and disdain. They really thought they could turn their daughter's wedding into a show for her sister? How ridiculous! Emma's mother's face flushed, scrambling for an excuse but finding none. "You can't do this to your own family, Emma," she shouted. But Emma just looked at her mother with a calm, piercing stare. "I didn't do anything. You did this to our family." Sophia stood there, her hands trembling with rage. She'd never been humiliated like this in her life. "Emma, you're a snake!" But instead of reacting, Emma just smiled. "Sophia, this is my wedding day. It's not about you today, and you'll never take it from me." Sophia shrieked, stomping her foot like a child. She'd lost. Emma's parents, too ashamed to stay, dragged Sophia out of the venue. As the doors shut behind them, the room erupted in applause. Emma took a deep breath, gripping Liam's hand. "We did it." Liam smiled, gently lifting her chin. "Now let's go have a real wedding." Emma stepped into the ceremony hall, her eyes brimming with happiness. For the first time in her life, her special day truly belonged to her. Emma stood on the dance floor, the chandelier's light sparkling off her wedding dress. Liam held her hand tightly, his smile never fading. "How do you feel?" he whispered, leaning down, his eyes glowing with joy. Emma took a deep breath. Freedom. That was the only word she could name right now. "I feel like this is finally, truly our day." Liam squeezed her hand. "I promised you. No one could take it from you." They twirled across the floor, surrounded by the thunderous applause of friends and people who genuinely loved them. No Emma's parents, no Sophia. And that's what made today more perfect than ever. After the wedding, Emma and Liam climbed into their car, ready to leave and start the next chapter of their lives. But as Emma leaned back in her seat, her phone buzzed. "Sophia, you're a snake. You planned this against me from the start. I can't believe you'd do this to your own family. You'll regret betraying me and our parents." Emma stared at the screen, a smirk tugging at her lips. Liam glanced over. "Sophia, who else?" Emma shook her head, setting the phone down without replying. "Not going to respond?" Liam asked, his eyes glinting with curiosity. Emma smiled softly, resting her head on his shoulder. "No. They tried to ruin my wedding, but in the end, they're the ones who lost. And I don't need to waste another second on them." Liam laughed, pressing a kiss to her forehead. "I love the way you think." The plane took off, carrying Emma and Liam away from all the pain of her past. "Where should we go first?" Emma asked, her eyes shining with excitement. "Europe," Liam said. "A long trip, no interruptions, no one controlling you anymore. Just us and beautiful things ahead." Emma smiled, squeezing his hand. She'd spent her whole life in her family's shadow, but now she could finally step into the light. No more control, no more manipulation. Just her, Liam, and an open future. And that was her greatest victory.